Thank you. Good morning. Crisis versus crisis. I'm thinking when we were not in crisis. So I have the feeling that we were always in crisis, but now we speak a lot about crisis because we are afraid about the changement, and the world is changing a lot. Since the end of the 20th and now 20 years later, we are really in changement. But it's a hope for me. Because when I talk to my students every year, when we start the new year, I always tell them, and my students now are all born after 2000. In the audience, nobody was born after 2000. But can you think that they are different than us because of that? And I've pushed them to be different because their memories will be from the 21st century. They don't refer to the 20th, even not to the 19th. They are in the 21st century and they believe the 21st century. And I push them to think that their duty as students and after that as architects maybe only, they can change the world. Their duty is to dream, to think that they can do it, and they do it. So this is possible. So this is a hope. And this hope is very strong to give that to the young people today. Because when I listen to young people, I read articles in the media from young people, they're saying, oh no, catastrophe, it's complicated, the world is destroyed, etc. No, the world is changing. And because the world is changing, we have to change our position, our view, and our way of thinking. And it's fantastic. Because they will build the 21st century, and I'm jealous of them for that. Okay, because my generation, and maybe your generation, we were in a world that was changing, and we are just pushing the world changing. But they are to invent. So this is fantastic. So this is first crisis versus crisis. And then architecture matter. Architecture is the center of the world. Whatever you think, this is the center of the world. Because without architecture, you don't live. Without architecture, you don't do anything. And I'm glad that next year in the Venice Biennale, the new director said architecture will be the central position of this Biennale. So we hope a lot. Because architecture is a fantastic discipline in a way, because architecture is including or facing, when we are facing a problem, when we do architecture, we are facing a very complex problem, whatever it is, small size, big size, large size, cities, everything, this is very complex. But to try to understand this question, we have to convoke all the disciplines around us. Geography, sociology, art, physics, technique, whatever. We have to bring law, economy, etc. We have to bring everything and to understand this question through all these matters. And after that, we have to do a synthesis. And this synthesis is providing for us a proposal. And every architect is doing the same. So we are all different and we can make a lot of proposals. And these proposals have to be able to work and to be very efficient from the very little size to the larger size. So this is unique and it takes time. And because of that, we are problem solvers for the world. And this is very important. Because we can solve this question. And when we start a project and we finish the project, sometimes it's 2, 3, 4, 10 years. So we have to continue to keep our mind. And when we keep our mind, we have to focus somewhere and to negotiate, to deal in between with everything. So this is very complicated, but it's fantastic. And this is why I contest the fact to say that architecture is a business. For me, architecture is a passion. And this passion is invaded all my life, for everything. So this is an introduction in relation to the topic. Next. So, when I show you this horizon from the sea, on the sea, it's because I always compare doing a project as sailing to the horizon. Because when you sail to the horizon, in Munich you don't have horizon so well, but maybe because you have the mountains around, close, I don't like that, but doesn't matter. I prefer the sea. I'm from the sea, you know. And when you have to make a point somewhere on the horizon, and you decide to go, and you sail. But in going, you don't go straight on. You go by negotiating, negotiating with the current, with the wind, with the sun, etc. But you have always to focus on where you want to go. But as soon as you reach your point where you wanted to go, this point is in front of you again, because the horizon is always pushing further. And as soon as you reach the point in a project, this is the same for me, I always want to go further. So this is adventure. And this adventure is fantastic to live and to do it. And we have to do that without fear. We have to do that with taking risk a lot. But if you don't take risk, life is not interesting. We take risk even in crossing the street, so we can take risk in doing a project. Doesn't matter. So, okay, this is my first project, a long time ago, more than 30 years ago now. It was the first building that we built I built in 1990, and we won a lot of prize with that. And it was the first suspended glass facade in the world, and it was, many innovation in that. I don't know why. When I was very young, I was really pushing for innovation, everything. So I was doing that, and this is a question of making, it's facing the south, it's offices building, facing the south with a total glass transparent facade. So I have to think about how to protect that. And because I was studying in the late 70s, I knew something about bioclimatism. Because at this time, my teachers, some of them, were teaching me bioclimatism. So now we speak about that. But in the 70s, we were already talking about that. But in the meantime, we have forgotten. And now it's back. So this is why we have this solar protection 2 meters in front of the facade, activated by the sun and the wind, and because by that, and without air conditioning in the building, because with that protection, we create a little wind in front of the facade, because of the difference between the shadow and the sun, and by refreshing the facade, we refresh the building. So it's so evident now. Now everybody knows that. But in the 90s, believe me, it was very different. So, and the space is different. I go fast because I discovered yesterday that it was 30 minutes that I have, not 3/4 of an hour. So I have to run. So this is the transformation of the space. Okay, I don't explain everything. This one is interesting because when Nadine talked to me, she said, "How do you take risk?" I said that I did a competition for the building underneath. The building is a motorway control center, and it was supposed to be under this bridge, in the middle of a park. And I think if people want to enjoy the park, they will pass, and the building will block their view. So I decided to hang the building under the bridge. But the bridge that was already projected by the engineers and the company decided that it was not possible to do that. So I redesigned the bridge. In the proposal of the building, I redesigned the bridge. And they said, okay, you win the competition for the building, but we have to build your bridge now. And so thanks to that, I did the two commissions. The commission of the building and so sometimes you have to take risks like that. You have to invent your way of doing. You have not to obey immediately, you have to think and to reorganize your way of organizing the project and the proposal. Okay. It's possible to pass underneath this building. And we push the two ways, and it's a big motorway, close to Paris. Like that. In 2009, no, 2010, I won the competition, an open competition. So usually I don't do an open competition because this is like playing like that, sending something on the wall, on the floor. But this time I said, okay, why not? A museum of contemporary art in Rome, where you have all these ruins from the Roman times, where everything is protected. This is a challenge. So I said, okay, go on. So we have to protect and to keep. There is no pointer. Okay. So this is at the corner of two streets because that's okay. No, the two bars are the previous buildings that was already renovated, and they want to add a big extension. And the extension is at the corner of two streets. And I discovered during the visit of the site that between the former entrance in between the two bars and the new entrance at the corner of two streets, there are 4 meters difference. So I was thinking that entering by this place give me the possibility to hide behind the facade because I had to keep the facade, and giving a high altitude, a high ceiling, without touching of the facade and without giving providing the building above the walls. And because this is Rome, and I thought contemporary art, contemporary architecture was not really usual in the center of Rome. So I have to take care. And by doing that, I created a new entrance, providing the large floor of 2,000 square meters, and above another floor of 2,000 terrace above of 2,000 square meters, and in between the new extension. And connected the two by ramps in between the two wings, the previous wings. One going up on the roof and one going down, because they are 4 meters. So it's now 11 meters high. This is for the main exhibition room, which is at the angle, the center with the foyer, and above to keep the little roof and the structure underneath that we have to keep. We had to keep that. Okay. So this is the new entrance with the coffee suspended at the two facades that we kept, and entering underneath with a garden, entering into another world. So behind the facade, there is another world, which is contemporary architecture and contemporary art. The passerelles are traveling everywhere at the mid-level of the space. Everything is painted in black, not the exhibition rooms, and we can travel at 3 levels. The floor, with the continuity of the pavement of the street, the mid-level of the passerelles, and the roof, which is another place for exhibition. The conference room is an object which is a bit destabilized by the shape and the digging of the floor underneath, and it's red, matte red, and bright red inside. At the middle of the work, they asked me if I wanted to design the furniture. And I said yes, because for Italy, it's normal that an architect is designing furniture. So I said yes, but can I have a little more money? They said no, you do that in the project. I said okay, because it was a challenge to do that. So I started to design everything. So I designed the seats, I designed the lamps, the tablet behind. So this is the main exhibition room, which has different heights because they wanted at the end to be able to do theater, to do dance ballet, to do exhibition, etc. But at the end, it's only a contemporary art museum. But thanks to this, we have a big height, and one of the passerelles is traveling at mid-level to have another point of view on the exhibition below. But the exhibition room is very simple, very neutral, because this is for the art, for the curators, for the artists, and it's not for the architect. Because I remembered when I started the project, reading a text, a discussion between Daniel Buren, the French artist, and Frank Gehry when he was starting the museum of Guggenheim in Bilbao. And Gehry was asking to Daniel Buren, do you think that a contemporary art museum has to be neutral and white, as Richard Mayer was doing forever? And he said, and Buren said, no way, you can do what you want, but in the exhibition place, you have to be calm. Everywhere else, you can do what you want. This is why the collective space, the public spaces are done with expressing myself, and the exhibition is for the art. And the roof is an exhibition space also, a new exhibition place with painting the walls of the neighbors to have a projection, a kind of differences of floors, a travel with different surfaces, and glass volumes that provide natural light below, everywhere. I designed the lamps for the Javelot done in Italy with Luce Plan. I started my collaboration with Luce Plan at this time. It's Javelot. In the cafe, it's colorful. Everybody says that I'm doing only black and red. No, I can do yellow, orange, and red also, if you want. And this is a cafe in the street. Because it's at the corner, you have so the museum now has, usually museums have a connection to the surround by the ground floor. And this that one, you have the ground floor with the pavement continuing inside. You have the cafe, which is at mid-level of the residential building around, and you have the surface on the roof, which is connected to the top floors of the. So every neighbors are being connected to the museum. And the toilets. You know, I love to design toilets. Why? Yes, I know it's always like that. Because this is the only place where we don't have standard, we don't have regulation, we don't have anything. There is a place where you just have to provide a space, some dimension, ventilation and light, so you can do what you want. So I try to experiment in toilets all the time. So in my toilets in Rome, this is a mirror stainless steel box, covered everything with mirror on both extremities. When you go out of the toilet, you go there. You want to wash your hands. So you go to this volume, which is white and lighted. Above there is a landscape, and you manipulate your hands above because there is no tape, there is nothing. And as soon as you make dancing your hands above, you cross infrared ray. And it becomes red. The water is coming up, the dryer is coming up. So you make dancing your hands and you discuss with the others in front of you, and you wash your hands in the meantime. And you smile when you get out of the toilets. So this is another one that I did in Bretagne in France, my region, from where I am. And this is a contemporary art museum also. And the sculpture in front was already planified. And the artist knew that the museum will come. And she gave restriction to the architecture. She said, I want to have a silencious facade, and I don't want that the architects of the building light my piece from the building. So I decided to respect her will, and I did a black monolith building, silencious, separated by two materials. The top part is covering the facade of the main exhibition room above, and this is the facade is black mirror stainless steel, because it's black mirror. Because it's mirror, sometimes it's gray, sometimes it's blue. Because in Brittany, the sky is changing all the time. So depending on the color of the sky, depending on the weather, this material is changing of appearance. Below, this is glass. And the line in between them is exactly the same height than the stones. And on the other side, this is black concrete. When the weather is dry, it's gray, dark gray, and when the weather is humid, it becomes black. So there are three black materials changing of colors depending on the weather. And the entrance is there. You don't see very well. Now it's written. This is the entrance. And inside, this is totally lighted, because I cut the volume with a long diagonal, and above there is a light. And this is 30 meters high from the top of the roof to the storage below. And but you enter there, and you can't go in the middle, because you see that there is something, so you have to go there, to go up, you have to travel back to the facade. And the facade becomes transparent, and you look at the sculpture, so you are referring to where you were. And you travel along the facade, in between this volume of the lecture room and the conference room and the outside. You go to the cafe, open to the park around, and you travel in the middle with some steps, some ramps, some staircase. So I want to stop just a minute on this handrail, because this is a glass parapet. But usually the glass parapet are standing from below. And I said, oh, this is a very high void and very narrow. So people will be afraid by traveling along that one. So I want to protect them. So I reinverse the possibility of suspending the glass from the top instead from coming from below. But to do that, I have to design, and we have to calculate the strength of this handrail, and to be able to do it without doing a specific what we call that in a specific detail regulation or specific detail authorization, because it was forbidden in my contract. So it took for me and my engineer 1 year and a half to convince the controller to suspend the glass instead of having it coming from bottom. Taking risk, but at the end we succeeded without never changing my mind. So this is a very big handrail, and now you have that at this level. So you are protected, and people can travel into the museum. The exhibition rooms are normal, simple. And toilets. Again, yes, because you have to design toilets. You can to give joy to people for toilets, with toilets. You can express yourself with toilets. So this is written, so you know where it is. And inside there is in between central partition in stainless steel mirror, but it's curved. So when you look and you go to the basin, because there is a wash basin somewhere, and you discover that when you look at it yourself inside, you could be larger or thinner. It depends where you are. So this is a representation of yourself which is changing. So, and the client, which is the region of Brittany, said, oh, it's very violent. I said, no, this is just a piece of art. Don't worry. Like that. So you don't know where you are. And in the night, we don't light the piece. We light only the conference room, and everything becomes light, and it's a lantern. This is a museum in Nanjing, in China. It's a very nice site. It's 1 hour from Nanjing by car. And it's a kind of mountain with grots, with quarry. But inside these grots, they discover the bones of the man of Nanjing, Homo erectus. And I went to the site, I went to the grots, and I was walking on the grots where the Homo erectus was walking. So it's really moving when you do a project like that, because you know that the ground where you walk was there during the Homo erectus time. So it's very strong. So the site was so big that we could have implanting the building where we wanted. So I decided to go back to the mountain and to try to play with the curved line of the mountains, lifting them, billowing them, etc., until we did these models by replaying with all the curved line of the mountains, bringing the museum to the mountain back, reconsidering the curved line, rebuilding them, and having the landscape going up above the museum. And in one place, because it's 20,000 square meters, it's a big one, and I did not know what will be exhibited there, so I decided to do an atrium. And the atrium is a hall in the floor, but it's not at the same place exactly at every floor. And in between, there are travelators crossing the space that people can, when they want to go up, they travel around this void, and they discover what is happening on both sides. And they have to turn back, to turn again, to go to take the new one, etc., etc. So they discover what is exhibited, and they can choose. When do we do that? Like that. This is not very nice, what they have at these pictures. Okay, so, and I do sometimes also offices, building. And so this is Lyon, where we have two rivers, the Rhône and the Saône. It was the former industrial harbor in the city, in the center of the city. And the city in the 90s decided to boat it back and to push out all the industry, but keeping some machines, some engine, some very nice structure that was for the transfer of the goods between the harbor and the river. So I was inspired by that to do some building, which is the black one. So maybe you know this museum from Copy Melblau. A big one, big object, 2,000 square meters of space exhibition. My little black object, 8,000 square meters. Difference. You can say what you want. So this building is, we had a site which is 50 by 30 square dimension. So it's a rectangle, but we were supposed to build on this surface. And I decided to twist the top part to bring the offices above the bank, because the river is there, this is the bank, and this is the building. To have a big cantilever of 28 meters long between the beams, the column, and the end of the building. So using the top part as a crane, building that as a crane, with only the shaft for the toilet and the shaft to support that, and 3 columns in the middle, 3 pylons in the middle. And these 3 pylons came by boat, and they were built at the beginning. The concrete shaft was built at the beginning, and the car park 1 floor below. And we brought all the beams of the top. And after that, we started to suspend the floors from the top to the bottom. So from the 4th floor to the 1st floor, it was suspended. They are suspended to these beams, like that. The building is really in cantilever above the river bank. And we were asked during the competition to work with an artist, to include and to insert art in the building. So I decided to work with an artist, Felice Varini, who is from Switzerland, and he works on the question of perspectives. And I said to Felice, look at my building, it's very simple. This is just two parallelepiped. Can you change the perception of my facade? And he said, first of all, don't ask, and don't give order to an artist. I said, okay. I don't give order to the artist. Do what you want. So he came back to me and said, architecture is arrogant. Because when you build on a landscape somewhere, you destroy and you erase the landscape that was there before. So with my photo, I took the landscape in photo and I reapplied the landscape on the building. I said, okay, fine, do it. And I said, now, this is very convenient. For once, art will be provided something efficient. Because with the insertion of the face of the photo inside the first layer of the glass, we protect the glass box inside. So this is, and we have to play with the degree of gray and black, etc., because it's black and white, to have the possibility to protect the building with the photo, with art, like that. And because of this cantilever, we turn also the atrium in the center. So the atrium is going out. So when you are passing under, you see under the building until the top, like that. This is great. You discover the building without going in. And then the big pylons are inside, and the pylons are placed for traveling, because this is where you have the lifts and staircases. So you travel in the center, you go everywhere. Everywhere is open spaces. And these open spaces are really, everybody see everybody. And in the beams, you have the last floor, with 4 meters, 5 meters of height inside. And, okay. So, and we were doing offices, but the offices, because this is a glass box, we had to provide a lot of possibilities for protecting from the heating. So I didn't want to have a false ceiling. I kept only the false floor. And without having the false ceiling, I had to redesign all the shaft, everything to be clear and very nicely done. And without that, I faced two problems, lighting and acoustic. So I decided to provide a new project, because otherwise I will have to to buy acoustic panels and lighting, and we can combine both of them to create a new lamp, which is an acoustic panel lighting. So the acoustic is coming from the top and below, and is absorbed by the panel inside, and there is light below. And now, when I asked Luce Plan to do a prototype and to ask me if it's working, they called me and they said, oh, it's fantastic, it works very well. We will do it in their catalog now. So this is in the catalog. So I'm in time? Okay. So Barcelona. It was a competition that I won in 2015. It was a place where, on this place, there were a very old concrete skeleton remaining from the 2008, after the crisis. And it was just empty. And the client, who was fond of American and Luxembourg, bought this structure and decided to build a tower. And they could have built a tower because everywhere there are towers of 100 meters high. And this part has a skeleton, but on the backside there is another part of the skeleton. So we have to first destroy the back part to re-add on the top part of this half tower all the floors that were on the backside, and to expand the floors, because we discovered that we can have the place for having terraces and balconies. So the first work was a very strong structural work by reinforcing all the structure of the tower, by going down, but down there were a car park, and this car park was belonging to the hotel on the next by the tower. So we couldn't insert the new columns into the car park. So we insert micropiles into the columns of the car park. And then for reinforcing the floors to create the balconies, we reinforce the floors without adding any too much centimeters above, because the distance between the ceiling and the floor were very low, and the client wanted to keep at least 2,075 centimeters from floor to floor. And we had only 2,090. So we did that, and then we built the tower. So I decided to the box, because it was a kind of a box, not very nice, to give it a new design by creating ondulation on the facade with the balconies, by taking out the two first floors to add on the top, and to create something which is much higher and more dynamic, more dancing in the street. And the top red is because it's Barcelona. You know that everywhere there is red in Barcelona. So it was a signal with the duplexes and the penthouse on the top. So the facade is ondulating. And the ground floor and the lobby is 10 meters high. Because by taking off the two floors, we reach 10 meters high. So the lobby is impressive because it's very high. But behind, to close the lobby, I did an ondulated glass facade with one piece height. So that means that every piece of glass is 9 meters high not 9 meter and a half height. So this is a calculation that we did with a company which is in Barcelona. And I knew them because I built already in the Opera House in Paris a restaurant with this kind of glass facade. But this one is 9 meters high, half, and it's very high, and it's very simple. Inside, you recognize the javelot. I did a chandelier with the javelot. And the ceiling is totally reflective. We mirror to double the perception of the height. We have 10 meters, but we go by looking at 20 meters high. Long. Well, this is simple, easy. You just okay, I have to say something. At the beginning, I had the commission for only doing the building, designing the facade, organizing a little bit the flats. They wanted to hire an interior designer to reorganize the flats. I tried to deal with them. They changed my plans, and after that, I said, no way. So I worked with them, and they built my flats, the organization of my flats. And then I knew that the client wanted to hire another company to design the lobby and the underground for the spa, gym, etc. And I said, okay, but I want to do that. So I came back to the office and I said, now we do that. So we designed the lobby, we designed the ground floor, we did all the details, we designed the garden, and I brought the dossier to the client. I said, but we didn't ask you to do that. I said, yeah, but can you look at with your partners if we can do it? So they did a long discussion, the commission, etc., asked me the details, etc., and at the end I had the commission for that. But I did that without being paid at the beginning. So you have to take risks sometimes. If you want to have something, you have to do it. So underneath, this is the spa. And the spa is with wood. You have again the green wall with the natural light coming in. And inside that you have a yoga room. Not bad. Not bad, I know. This is why I say that, not bad. And the swimming pool. So under the car park ramp, I decided to implant a swimming pool. So we don't have a big height at the end, it's only 2.5 meters, but because it's a ramp, it's a slopey ceiling, I cover it with mirror, and when you swim inside, you swim on both sides. This is an experience. So this is not bad again. This is 20 meters long. And on the top of the building, there is another swimming pool. There is a rooftop with, when you arrive at 100 meters high, the sea and the swimming pool are at the same level. You have the impression always in that building that you are connected to the sea. You are in holidays. It's turned around the rooftop. Again, not bad. Okay. I would love to live there, but I can't. I can't afford that. It's too expensive. This is why developers, you have to take risk and do that without too much money. Please. To give joy to everybody, not only for the rich people. And some duplexes. So at the end, we designed everything. We designed the door handles, we designed the staircase of the stairs into the duplexes, we designed the glass facade, we designed all the objects of the building, we designed them. It's a total global design building. Everything is designed by us, and it's coherent. It was not asked by the client, but I decided to do that. And finally, they are very happy for that. And at the bottom part, at the ground floor, we have a cafe. And I said, I can design it also. He said, okay, this time we don't ask you, do it. And okay. So I had the commission for the restaurant, and it's owned by it's managed by a French chef there who has a 20 restaurant and one with a star, Michelin. And this is like that. And the toilets. I love the machine of the toilet below. This is like having your hands going into a mouth. I love that. Maybe some of you remember this sofa, which was like a mouse from the 60s or something. Sorry. This is for the wash basin today. Okay, sometimes I do very little project. So this is an artist residence close to Grenoble in France in the Alps. So an art collector who is living into this little manor decided to create a new artist residence. So I did, she asked me to come. I went to visit the place. I did the project, and at the end she told me, you were in competition with 3 other architects. I said, oh, you didn't tell me. So finally, and I discovered that because we are in front of the Alps, above the city of Grenoble, and she wanted to be protected from that, to not be disturbed by the artist, I said, yes, but I want, there are a lot of trees, and said, I want the artist to have a view to the landscape and to the Alps. So this is a black box in wood, totally built in wood. Structure, everything is wood. But absolutely silencious because there is no windows. But by twisting it, having the possibility to have some windows, taking the sun for the top part, like that. And below, this is a workshop that is protecting the walls for the gardens. Inside, this is wood. This is a little spaces with a living room, a bedroom, and on the top there is a belvedere to the view, to the landscape. So this one is black, totally in wood. And in Brittany, an English guy asked me to do a glass box, a glass house. So this is a total glass house, white this time. Because this man has an illness has a macular illness in his eyes, so his view is disappearing. So he wanted to have something which is totally lighted, totally bright, without brightness, and totally equal in terms of light, and to be able to live there sometimes. So this is a double glass filled with a specific material. So it's time, so I run. This is like that. Incline, inside, like that. And another one, close to there. This is the top one, with another houses on the back. The fortification is not for me before below. So I just show you something like that. Like that. Like that. Like that. No. Okay. Okay, this is just for pleasure. I received a call asking for me if I knew something about sailing. I said yes, and we started to work on that boat. It's a super yacht. Okay, I do that like that, without explanation. And we design everything inside. This is the last lamp, another lamp, and now this is for... I help a guy close to my office to do his art gallery. But this man has a dog. And he said, now my dog will come back to me, with me in the gallery. And I said, but you have a dog basket, it's ugly. I said, I will redesign the dog basket. So I came to visit the dog, measuring the dog, and designing a bold, molded aluminum basket with a mattress inside for Victor. And he lived there for 10 years. Now he died. And as soon as I did that, I said to my art collector, or to my art gallery, now this is for dog, and I can do it by mices, for mices. So now we have done for mices. So if you have mices, you can buy that and give them a house. Okay, thank you.